You're exactly 1,095 days away from never having to ask a boss for permission ever again. Most people fail to quit their 9 to 5 because they jump without a parachute. But today, we are building a 36-month ironclad roadmap to total freedom. This is the exact timeline you need. My name is Dave, and in the next few minutes I'll map a 36-month plan to replace your paycheck with repeatable cash flow, shrinking expenses, seeding capital, compounding income, and executing a calm exit with margin. This is your personal countdown. First, let's kill the overnight success myth. Freedom is rarely a leap, it's a bridge. The bridge is built with small, boring moves repeated daily until the numbers become undeniable. This is engineered progress, not motivational noise. In 2026, job security feels thinner, promotions feel slower, and layoffs feel random. Meanwhile, side income looks crowded. That's why the plan must be engineered, not hoped for. Your skills and capital must work together here. 36 months is the sweet spot, because it is long enough for compounding to matter, yet short enough for your motivation and biology to stay aligned without turning life into misery. 3 years beats 3 weeks of frantic effort. Your brain can rewire spending, patience, and identity in about 3 years when the system is simple. The goal is not hustle culture. The goal is a self-sustaining income floor. Stress is optional when systems handle the heavy lifting. Think of this roadmap like building a private power plant. Month 1, you pour concrete. Month 12, the turbines spin. Month 36, you can unplug from the grid with confidence. We build once, then we simply maintain it, and I'm going to keep this practical. Every phase has one metric, one habit, and one mistake to avoid. Stay to the end, because the final exit protocol is where most plans collapse. Watch for the moment your habits feel automatic. Phase 0 begins today. Radical expense compression without self-punishment. We're not chasing deprivation, we're chasing control. Control is the ability to redirect cash toward assets that pay you back. You are buying back your future mornings, quietly. Open your last 90 days of transactions. Highlight anything that repeats automatically. Subscriptions, fees, delivery, app add-ons, silent insurance upgrades. These are tiny leaks that steal momentum. Print the statements if screens tempt impulsive clicks. Do a fast lifestyle creep audit. What did you add in the last year that doesn't raise your happiness proportionally? Keep the top 3 joy items. Everything else becomes fuel for freedom. Tiny leaks become massive when repeated for years. Here's the 2026 subscription purge. Cancel first, ask questions later. If you truly miss something, re-add it intentionally. Most people discover they were paying for convenience they didn't even use. Cutting one bill is like raising your income. Next, negotiate fixed bills like a professional. Call providers, ask for retention offers, remove extras, raise deductibles if your emergency fund is building. The point is to lower your monthly baseline. Canceling is easier than earning extra money. Your baseline is the number your freedom engine must cover. If you lower it by $200, you didn't just save $200. You reduced the required portfolio size dramatically. Lowering baseline shrinks the finish line dramatically. Now build the psychological safety net, an emergency fund. Start with 1 month of essentials, then 2, then 3. This fund is not for investing. It is for keeping you rational. Call it your freedom buffer and protect it. Without a safety net, every market dip feels like a threat to your rent. With a safety net, dips become discounts. That emotional shift is worth more than any spreadsheet trick. Safety creates courage, and courage creates consistency. Set a simple rule. Pay essentials, fund emergency cash, then invest. The order matters because panic is expensive. Calm investors capture compounding. Anxious investors interrupt it. Order beats effort, especially on chaotic weeks. Finally, automate the first contribution, even if it's small. Automation is the bridge between intention and execution. Your willpower is finite. Your system must be relentless. Automation turns discipline into something you stop debating. One more trick for compression. Switch to a weekly cash meeting with yourself. Every Sunday, you decide the week's spending cap. The cap becomes a game, not a guilt trip. Make it simple enough to repeat when tired. Replace impulse shopping with a waiting list. If you still want an item after 14 days, you can plan for it. Most wants die quietly when you stop feeding them instantly. During phase 1, your social circle may resist your changes. Be polite but firm. You are not judging them. You are choosing a different scoreboard than consumption. Now let's talk about income boosts without burnout. Pick one lever: overtime, a small service, or selling unused items. Funnel all extra cash into the seed fund for 12 months. Track your progress visually. A simple chart on your wall works. Each time passive income grows, you mark it. The human brain commits harder to what it can see daily. When markets run hot, resist the urge to relax. Hot markets are when discipline quietly builds the buffer you'll need later. Calm discipline beats heroic sprints every time. When markets fall, do not freeze. Your emergency fund handles life, so your investments can keep compounding. If prices drop, your reinvested dividends buy more ownership per dollar. Use a two-bucket mindset: survival bucket and growth bucket. Survival covers essentials in cash reserves. Growth is invested for decades. Never raid growth for small discomforts. And if you're partnered or have family, make the plan shared. Agree on the baseline, the timeline, and the reward rules. Team alignment is a massive hidden accelerator. Phase 1 is months 1 through 12. Seed capital and accelerate cash flow. The target is not luxury. The target is covering one real bill with passive income, then stacking bills like bricks. Pick a primary account for investing and treat it like a factory. Your job's paycheck is raw material. Your expenses are overhead. Your investments are machines that produce future cash. Start with diversified, dividend-focused holdings that have long histories of paying and raising distributions. Avoid the temptation to chase the highest yield without asking why it is that high. High yield can be fine when the business is stable and cash flows are durable. High yield is poison when the payout is borrowed, shrinking, or masking a collapsing core business. Use a simple filter: payout sustainability, balance sheet strength, and a clear reason customers keep paying. If you can't explain the business model in one breath, it's not for phase 1. Now add a reinvestment rule I call velocity of capital. Every dollar of dividends earned in phase 1 gets recycled within 24 hours of receipt. No drifting, no waiting for feelings. That velocity creates a flywheel. The flywheel is boring at first, then visibly stronger, then suddenly heavy. The earlier you start spinning it, the sooner it refuses to slow down. If your broker allows fractional shares, use them. Fractionals remove the excuse of not having enough to deploy. Tiny buys are not embarrassing. They are how snowballs begin. In month 3, measure your first micro milestone: dividends covering a small utility cost. Not the whole bill, just a portion. The point is proof. Proof changes behavior faster than inspiration. Celebrate the milestone privately, then raise the contribution rate. When you see the system pay you, your spending cravings weaken. Your brain starts preferring assets over stuff. By month 6, you should see a curve. It won't be dramatic yet, but it will be consistent. If it's inconsistent, your inputs are inconsistent. Fix the inputs before you blame the market. Now about automated yield protocols. If you use any, keep them small, diversified, and fully understood. If you cannot explain the risk, assume it is larger than it appears. The roadmap is built on resilience, not magic. The fastest route that breaks is not fast. It is a detour. Your freedom engine must survive boring months and chaotic months alike. At month 9, do a second purge. Expenses creep back. Apps reappear. Convenience sneaks in. This is normal. Repeat the purge like brushing your teeth. It's maintenance, not punishment. Month 12 ends with a scoreboard: your baseline expenses, your emergency month saved, your total contributions, and your monthly passive income. You are building clarity, not vibes. Clarity is addictive once you see progress. Phase 2 is months 13 through 24, scaling toward the crossover point. This is when your plan stops feeling theoretical and starts feeling like a second paycheck waking up. Your first major marker is 50% coverage. When passive income covers half your monthly living needs, your job loses psychological power. You stop feeling trapped by one boss. To reach that marker, you increase 2 levers: contribution rate and income reliability. Reliability comes from diversification across sectors, cash flow types and payment schedules. Consider adding real assets like fractional real estate or diversified property funds, not as a gamble but as a different engine. Rent-driven cash flow behaves differently than corporate dividends. You can also build a small, automated digital storefront, templates, simple services, or a product that solves one boring problem. Keep it repeatable. The goal is durability, not viral fame. Now, de-risking matters. Concentration feels efficient until it fails. Spread your income sources so one cut, one dividend pause, or one tenant problem doesn't threaten your entire timeline. During this phase, track your coverage ratio every month, passive income divided by baseline expenses. That ratio is your freedom thermometer. It tells the truth, even when headlines scream. When the ratio climbs, avoid lifestyle inflation. This is the trap. People see progress and reward themselves with new payments. Payments are anchors. Anchors keep boats from leaving. Instead, create planned rewards that do not create recurring costs. A trip you save for is fine. A new monthly subscription is a chain. Choose rewards that expire, not bills that multiply. Tax leakage is another silent enemy. Learn the rules that apply to your accounts, dividends, and capital gains where you live. Optimize legally, not aggressively, and document everything clearly. Use the simplest structure available. Max any employer match first, then prioritize tax-advantaged space, then taxable investing for flexibility. Flexibility is what funds your final exit. In month 18, run a stress test. Imagine distributions drop by 20%. Can you still cover essentials? If not, your safety margin is too thin. Adjust now, not later. Stress testing is emotional training. You rehearse the hard scenario so you don't panic if it happens. Panic is what forces people to sell at the worst possible time. Also, revisit your skills inventory. If your job vanished tomorrow, what could you sell within 30 days? Build one skill into a side channel. Skill-based income is shock absorption. By month 24, your engine should be producing enough cash flow to meaningfully reduce your dependence on overtime, bonuses, or side gigs. Your time begins returning to you, but don't rush. The middle phase creates impatience. Impatience whispers, "Quit now." Ignore it. You are not escaping. You are graduating. Graduates leave with credentials and proof. At this stage, the compounding curve starts bending. The same contribution creates more income than before. That is your signal to protect the system and avoid unnecessary risk. If you want more yield, earn it through quality and diversification, not through fragile payouts. The market can be generous, but it is never obligated to fund your calendar. Keep a written investment policy. What you buy, why you buy, what would make you sell, and how you rebalance. Written rules beat mood swings every single time. Phase 3 is months 25 through 36, the exit strategy. This is where your friends will notice your karma, and your manager will wonder why you stopped chasing approval. The key metric here is the freedom margin. Passive income, exceeding baseline living costs by at least 20% for 6 straight months. Not one good month. 6 consistent months. 6 months proves the engine, not a lucky spike. That margin protects you from dividend timing, unexpected expenses, and short-term market noise. It also gives you dignity. You resign because you can, not because you must. Before you resign, reduce fragility. Build a cash buffer for your first 90 days of freedom, separate from your emergency fund. This buffer buys you time to adjust routines. Now execute the resignation protocol. Choose a date, finish projects professionally, document your processes, and leave clean. Burning bridges is expensive. Calm exits keep options alive. In your notice period, do not announce your portfolio. Do not debate co-workers. Quiet is power. You are not seeking validation. You are protecting your peace and your plan. If your job offers health coverage or benefits you rely on, bridge them intentionally. Research alternatives early. The goal is to remove surprise costs that could pressure your engine. On your final day, treat it like a handoff, not an escape. Gratitude keeps you grounded. Arrogance creates blind spots. You are moving into autonomy, and autonomy requires humility. Now the portfolio shifts from pure growth to an anti-fragile distribution model. You still want growth, but you prioritize stability, diversification, and cash flow consistency. A simple approach is a barbell, one side in resilient dividend growers, the other in safer reserves that can cover expenses during downturns. The barbell prevents forced selling. Rebalance on a schedule, not on emotions. Quarterly check-ins are enough for most people. Your new job is not staring at charts. Your new job is protecting your time and freedom. The first 90 days are the danger zone. Without corporate structure, some people drift, sleep poorly, or binge distractions. So you design structure before you need it. Write a weekly rhythm: health, learning, relationships, and one creative or income project, not 10 projects. 1. The goal is momentum and identity, not overwhelm. Pick a morning routine that anchors you: exercise, walk, journal, or reading. Your nervous system needs predictability. Predictability prevents you from manufacturing problems for entertainment. Also, set boundaries with friends and family. Freedom does not mean unlimited availability. If you become everyone's taxi and therapist, you recreated a job with no paycheck. Finally, keep tracking your coverage ratio monthly. Freedom is maintained the same way it is built, by watching the numbers and respecting the system that got you here. Let's address the 3 ways people fail this roadmap. 1. They underestimate baseline expenses. 2. They chase flashy yield. 3. They quit early because they confuse progress with readiness. Baseline expenses must be real. Include groceries, transport, insurance, basics, and a small fun budget. If you pretend you can live like a monk, your plan will collapse the first bad week. Flashy yield is seductive because it promises speed, but if the payout is cut, your timeline explodes. Reliability beats excitement. Your freedom engine should feel boring, like a refrigerator. Quitting early is the silent killer. People hit a good streak, feel brave, and resign without margin. Then one expense hits and they sell assets at the wrong time. Margin is the parachute. Now here's a simple mini example. Suppose your baseline is $3,000 monthly. 50% coverage is $1,500. Your first target is not quitting, it's reaching $1,500. When you reach $1,500, you negotiate your job differently. You refuse extra stress, you stop chasing prestige, and you reclaim evenings. That reclaimed time helps build the next income layer. Then your target becomes $3,600, baseline plus 20% margin. At $3,600 for 6 months, you execute the protocol. Not because you hate work, but because you own time. If your baseline is lower, your timeline tightens. If your baseline is higher, your contributions must rise or you extend the roadmap. The truth is flexible. The system is still the system. Remember, you're not building a fantasy. You're building a machine. Machines run on inputs, maintenance, and rules. They do not run on motivation alone. Write the numbers down. They hit differently. And motivation will fade. That's why we automate contributions, purge expenses, and set written policies. When you feel tired, the machine keeps moving. That is how ordinary people win. Before we close, I want you to picture day 1096. You wake up without dread. Your calendar belongs to you. Your money works quietly. And you didn't gamble to get there. Stay with me for one final piece, the single habit that makes the whole roadmap stick when life gets messy, because life will get messy, and that is not a reason to quit. The habit is the monthly freedom review. Once a month, 30 minutes, you update baseline expenses, coverage ratio, emergency months, and next contribution. Then you walk away. Simple, consistent. If you do that review for 36 months, you will catch leaks early, correct course fast, and avoid emotional decisions. It turns freedom into a process, not a personality. Now tell me in the comments, what is your baseline monthly number today, and what would it take to lower it by 10% this month? Be specific so I can respond with ideas. If you want more roadmaps like this, tap like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next video will break down how to build a dividend engine that pays on a predictable monthly rhythm. You're closer than you think. You're not waiting for permission, you're building proof. Start the purge tonight, automate the first deposit tomorrow, and let the next 195 days change your life.